Did you know that 40% of students in the education system receive special education services? It was not until 1975, just 42 years ago, that services were offered to those with diagnosed disabilities. I am Katie Wagner, and spending time with my peers with disabilities is what I love and do the most. It leaves me in complete awe that these amazing people who face enough challenges could not even receive a proper education. Today I will inform you of some of the laws regarding the education for those with special needs. Let's move now to my first point. The first and most important law to understand and know is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, most commonly called the IDEA. This law was enacted in 1975, but previously called something else. According to Understood.com, the IDEA secures an appropriate and free education for those with disabilities, just as a student without these needs would get, from a child to age 21 or graduation, whichever comes first. It states how whenever possible, these students will be taught in an inclusive environment. This law also gives rights to the parents and protects the students from information regarding their person and their needs being shared. In order to qualify for these services in accordance with the IDEA, the student must first be evaluated in order to determine the disability as well as the needs the student would require. If such is considered applicable, the student's family and members of the school create an Individualized Education Program, or IEP, that directly states the educational goals, services, and disabilities the student will need to be the most successful. I have an example of an IEP to show you guys. You each have a copy. An IEP will first state their legal name, as well as their Kansas ID for their specific IEP, their age at the IEP, and their grade level at the time of the IEP, and the date of the IEP meeting. Multiple people have to be present in order for the IEP to be recognized. These people include the parent or guardian of the student, the case manager of the student, the regular educator of the student, the teacher that the student will keep going back to throughout the day, and watches over and controls their IEP, make sure that he or she is getting the correct format for their IEP and the correct accommodations for their IEP. And also the building administrator must be present. They are also known as the LEA of the building. Another thing that's stated on the 19-page IEP that I found online is the instructional services of the student. There's current experiences like whether they can wash tables, vacuum, walk to their classes with minimal support, and that kind of stuff. Their employment, whether they're planning to be employed after high school is over or at the age of 21, or whether they're going to be spending time doing other stuff. It also states their independent living skills, where they're at after high school, whether they plan to live independently, live with their parents, live in a group home, that kind of stuff. Their current level of daily living skills, whether they can clean their room, get dressed, take out the trash, brush their teeth. Their community involvement, what they do in the community to help out, and these things include going to the library, going bowling, shopping, Special Olympics, having an attendant caregiver, and that kind of stuff. So that's an example. There's 19 other pages of the specific IEP, so they're typically really lengthy, but they state every single need and what they're going to accommodate for that student throughout that 19 pages. Now that you understand the IDEA, let's move now to my second point, which is Section 504. According to GreatSchools.com, Section 504 can be found in the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. This statute primarily focuses on anti-discrimination for those with disabilities and requires their needs to be met and accounted for just as those who are non-disabled. Different school districts handle this act differently, however the requirements are the same. A 504 plan is not necessary just due to parental demand. However, the school district approves the appropriate education for specific candidates based upon how they see the student's success due to their disability. Under this act, a student qualifying for this plan does not have to take any formalized testing. Students can receive accommodations such as extended time for testing, oral tests and large prints, or visual aids. This act, likewise to the IDEA, states that a student with a 504 plan must be taught in the setting of an inclusive, regular classroom, unless, however, their behavior is so disruptive that it distracts the peers in that class. In conclusion, these laws are vital to the success of someone with special needs. The IDEA in Section 504 helps secure an appropriate education specifically geared to the student's exact needs in order for them to be the most successful. The thought of my friends not receiving an exemplary education, or for that, treatment, is very upsetting. Thankfully, such laws have improved their rights thus far, and will continue improving them in the future. Thank you for taking the time to let me inform you today.